Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. We're actually doing a double header today. I have Creighton Hobbs, independent director Creighton Hobbs, with me tonight. So hello to everyone, Creighton.
Hey, how y'all doing? And Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and Happy New Year.
Kwanzaa,
So, yeah,
Kwanzaa, Hanukkah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and what I want to do is tonight, guys. I have a special treat. We're actually doing my first ever double feature for a movie review. I'm actually doing the Santa Claus. Well, first we're doing Home Alone and then Santa Claus. And this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while. I'm excited about it. And get this, guys. I actually have some trivia for Home Alone as well. So this is gonna be fun. So if you guys know any facts or anything like that about Home Alone or anything, you guys can go on ahead, comment in the live chats and everything, and go from there. Because I like to actually have interactions with you guys and stuff like that. This is not just about me; it's about you guys too as a community.
Yep.
So, without further ado, let's get into this Home Alone review. So, my question for you, Crichton, is this: have you seen this movie in theaters back when you were a kid? When was the first time you actually heard about Home Alone?
I remember hearing about it in the theaters. What year did it come out? I know it was.
I want to say 1990.
That's kind of what I
Was
thought because, yeah, it seems like it was 89
yeah,
or 90 or something to that.
yeah.
Because it seems like I went to the Singing River Mall in Goshen, Alabama. I mean Goshen, Mississippi, not Alabama, Goshen, Mississippi. But and for some reason, I was still hip to the '80s clothes, and I went in my '80s gear, and I went and saw Home Alone, and I remember seeing it in the movie theater, and I kept telling my dad, because me being a sick kid, my dad always knew movies was my way. He was like,
Right.
"This kid is never going to play football," so let's just take him to the movies. So I would go and see it, and I talked my dad into watching it, and I made him come and watch it with me. Like, so I saw it twice,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, so ever since then, even when it was on VHS, we've watched it in our house at the Hobbs's house every year. It's like a Christmas tradition. It's like, let's put in Home Alone, you know?
Right.
So,
And you see, I had the same experience. I think I might have seen it 3 times when I was a kid
hmm
and everything because I remember going with my mom, and then I think I remember going to see it with my grandfather, and then another time with my friends.
very cool.
Yeah, so I liked having that experience of actually bringing in my family and then my friends as well, and then us just speaking out over our favorite parts. Then also too, we would actually mimic the movie about which character we wanted to be and things like that too, and just how fun it would be to actually terrorize some of the two home invaders that would actually come into our house and everything. So we actually had a good time just having a good laugh.
Right. Yeah, that's great, man. See, and I think that the memories that you have and I have, everybody that watches Movie Lovers Unite, they have that as well. They have that bond, that experience, and which I think that's what movies do. They bring
Right.
together and they bring memories and they bring experiences of that. So when a movie can do that, you've done a good job, you know?
Exactly. And that's what the great thing about Home Alone is. You have Christopher Columbus that actually directed this movie and everything. And not only that, but Joe Pesci and everything was right outside the ballpark kind of actor that I would never even thought of actually picking for that type of role.
Right.
And the funny thing is, like, the very first time I saw him was actually in Home Alone. But it wasn't until like later on, whenever I saw him in Goodfellas and everything else. Oh, Tamika, she's on.
Oh,
Hey, Tamika, Home Alone is a good for the soul. I agree.
very much so. Yep. I
Hi,
agree as
Tamika,
well. Hi.
and I agree with you, Tamika. It is good for the soul. It's good for the laughter It just brings that holiday spirit in for Christmas and everything, and also makes you want to sing some Christmas songs. It makes you want to slap some cologne on your face and go, ah! But
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
but Joe Pesci, the funny thing is, he could not cuss in this movie.
I
So
know.
basically, what they did was they told, "Hey Joe, you cannot cuss in this movie." So the part where he's actually getting his head blown off with the fire and everything, when he goes that
Yeah. Uh-huh.
and because that's his
Yeah.
way of actually trying to cuss.
Yeah.
So he was actually cussing through gritted teeth. So
Yeah.
And so I like that. I like Daniel Stern in this movie as the other home invader guy, as well as
Oh
Marv
yeah.
and Harry. They did a fantastic job. Macaulay Culkin being Kevin, being a home alone by himself, wishing his parents were
Yeah.
gone and everything. He goes, "I
Yeah.
wished my parents away."
Yeah.
And and then it sinks
Yeah.
in the second time. He goes, "I wished my parents away." And then there he goes, that smirk on his face.
Yeah.
And
Oh
if you actually
yeah.
think about it, they were actually kind of cruel to him, though, if you actually think about
Yeah. Yeah. That's
it, in a sense, because he is the
yeah.
youngest one there. Buzz
Mm-hmm.
didn't like him. Oh, Tamika, what do you think of the second and third one? Apparently, there is a fourth one, and so is a fourth. To be honest, this is my opinion. I only like the first two films. The third film is
Yeah.
okay, but if I
Yeah.
just want something for background noise or something to help me go to sleep, I'll put on Home Alone 3. But
Yeah.
it's not something that I would
That
actually say, you know what, let's put on Home Alone 3. It's always
3,
the first
right.
film for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the same here. I mean, it's like sometimes, if you just can't mess with the originals. You just no
Right.
matter how much you really, really try, the closest thing to I've ever seen a reboot is what that recent commercial that Macaulay Culkin did. Did you see that
Right.
recent commercial where he
Yeah,
was
I saw
actually
that one.
doing it? Yeah, and it was a commercial, and when I saw it, I was like, you know,
See, I thought it was a trailer too. So I was like,
yeah,
this is perfect. And all of a sudden, it was a commercial for car commercial or something that was totally
yeah.
opposite of what I thought. I'm like, this sucks.
I know, but just seeing that commercial, I bet excited millions of people. I
I bet
was
it did
like,
too. Let's see here. Brandy said Joe Pesci not being able to curse, and then she said the brother was a jerk. The big brother was,
yeah,
and
he
then
played a good part.
he did, and then the first two are the best.
All right, I agree.
So
Good
I agree
call,
with that.
Brandy. Yeah,
But you know what else I liked about this film, though, aside from him being home alone and everything? You always have that next door neighbor that you have heard rumors about and things like that.
mhm.
Oh, this person might have been a witch or a warlock, and that person was very evil. We need to stay away from them. And then here's Buzz and his and everything saying, "I heard he murdered his kids. I heard that
Yeah,
you stay away from him. He's not any good." I like that whole entire mythology with the neighbor and everything to
yeah,
scare Kevin.
yeah.
What do you think?
Because it gives that. It's not the movie. It goes in deep. It really goes into a deeper layers of it, and I like that way Columbus did that. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right,
like it wasn't just all ha ha slapstick, Three Stooges type of thing. There's a lot of it,
right.
but it shows that there's a meaning to it. Family, Christmas, togetherness, and uh, to me, it was a John Hughes film for sure. you know?
You see, and I love that. I love the fact that there was meaning behind everything. And then
Mhm.
it actually explains it later on in the film about what's going on with the neighbor and everything too. And I also like the fact too, Kevin is also scared of the basement because of the heater.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
he runs off every single time. That was a classic. Let's see. Tamika. Yeah, Home Alone 3 was okay. I think they should have stopped at 1 and 2. Sadly, they're continuing the movies. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Let's see here. Brandy's quoting the movie. I'm giving you the count of 3 to get your dirty lying carcass out of here. I love that line.
Well, if they're making a new one, right? Oh,
right.
Here, Tamika said something.
I heard a theory he salted the ice because his wife fell, or his oldest son was supposed to be before they got into a fight.
Huh?
Yeah, he's talking about the neighbor.
Yeah. Now, what I would love to see, but I don't know if it's possible or what, but I want to see a new Home Alone, but Kevin is the dad.
I would love to see that.
I mean,
and then
I mean, my gosh. I mean, you put Kevin as the daddy, as a new dad, new family, and all this, and he's got a 5-year-old boy. Yeah, history repeats
7,
itself.
right?
Or,
You know what? There's so much technology now to the point where, you can check up on your kid and stuff like that. And there was always that fear of not knowing what your kid is doing while you're alone. So that kind of gets rid of that aspect, especially when you have all the smart technology and things like that. And also, too, you also have the drones, too, and everything as well. So I guess you see him going insane, his son going insane with the drone or something.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? I think that it would actually be an interesting concept to actually introduce the world into a 2020 world kind of thing with Macaulay Culkin as the dad. It'd be an interesting twist.
Yeah, it would be a total different, like, what, but what I also loved about Home Alone is the aspect of John Candy. Now, me as someone who produces and directs movies and things like that, you make friends in the industry. You make friends and that type of thing, just like you do at your work, Sean. You work at the hospital.
Right.
Well, I bet you're friends with some nurses, right?
Right. I am.
See, the only nurses I know is the ones I'm like my brother who I'm related to, and we don't really talk that much. So, but see, nurses, I don't, and I love how John Candy, how he only gave them like one day, and he just did that more or less as a favor, as in, just I want to do this just to help you out. And they got as much film as they could with John Candy. Yeah, and to me, since he's no longer here with us on this earth, just seeing him talk about the, polka, polka,
polka, polka.
Yeah, yeah, that is great. That was just such a sweet, that was like icing extra on the cake to me.
I agree with you. Having John Candy on there just definitely fills the topping on that cake very nicely. It could have actually been like one of those little bit where it's like, okay, it's a 5-minute scene and he's in and out of the airport and that's it. But they didn't waste him though in that film at all. He played a major role of getting his mother back to see Kevin. And everything. So I like that. I like the fact that, he's even entertaining his mother on the way with the polka band and everything too. And then another thing though too I liked is the fact that when Kevin is like, "Hey mom, Dad, I'm over here watching a filthy movie. Come and stop me." And as a matter of fact, in this part of the trivia too, they actually made that movie for the movie.
Yeah.
So I thought that was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, that's great.
It was. It definitely was. He used it twice, and I'm glad that they only used that bit twice. If they use it at least 4 times, it loses its flavor to the laughter.
Yeah.
But it was not lost. I really liked that bit. I thought the bit worked really well. Buzz's girlfriend was actually a boy that with a wig.
I don't know.
When he goes, Buzz's girlfriend, woof, and throws the picture down. That was hilarious. Tamika goes, "My mom is a nurse. Nurses rock. Thank you all. You're very welcome. Nurses are great. They're fantastic. I fully support nurses,
Oh,
especially
they're
where I work
awesome.
at. They play a huge game in the medical field and everything. So those of you who are fighting
Hmm.
the COVID right now, God bless you guys. You guys are doing a
Yeah,
phenomenal job.
yeah, that's
You
right.
know. And let's see. Tamika goes and he tags team with his son to fight evil. Talking about Macaulay Culkin.
Oh,
Funny.
right. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that would be great.
Let's see,
Yeah.
Crichton, if you were able to write a Home Alone film, what would you be a concept or approach to writing and directing it for today's audience?
Well, with me, if it's Macaulay Culkin and his son, the approach I would take is okay, this is their house, this is their family, right? Give the audience something to sit, put their feet on, right? And for some reason, you know, Marv and gosh, what is it? Marv and
Oh God, Harry, I think.
Harry, yeah,
Yeah,
Marv and Harry, they are released from jail, right? They get out of
right,
jail, but they're old men. They're old
right,
men. So they go, and it could show them going to the Chicago hood, right? And finding just two slapstick comedians that would play, they'll do anything for money. And
right.
they're like, we want you to go find this person and just go rob them, and we'll pay you money to do it, right? So, and then these two go to Macaulay Culkin and his son's house. And then the story, and then, I'm just going off the top of my head
Right.
here, but,
It just goes sideways.
yeah, it just go, and then these two comedians who are doing action, it's almost like it's new stunts, it's new things, but it'll have just a touch of nostalgia from the first one, very much how like they did with Star Wars, the new Star Wars movie, not but that one that came out that was like new but had
Yeah,
a touch of nostalgia. It just had enough, and I think that would bring in today's audience, like for millennials and younger generations. They would be like,
right.
well, who's this Macaulay Culkin guy? But it wouldn't be so far fetched. And I think that would give people like from my generation, Generation X, and baby boomers, and everybody else. Can't think of, but but I think that would really, really, you know, intertwine, and it would give people something fresh to new to see. But just you got to give us just a little bit of nostalgia.
Right. Just a little bit, just to pull us in. Just a little bit
Mm-hmm.
of salt, just to pull us in and everything,
Yeah.
and be able to, get that taste in our mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing though too I liked is the back and forth between Harry and Marv, where
Yeah.
that Marv is basically the dumb one and Harry is actually the smart one in this whole entire thing. And my favorite thing
Mm-hmm.
is too whenever he leaves the sink on and everything, when Harry leaves the Marv leaves the sink on,
That
he goes,
sink
"What you do?"
on.
He's over there laughing. He goes, "You did it again, didn't you?" He goes, "Yeah, I did. That's our signature. We're the wet
Yeah.
candles."
Yeah. Like
I'm like, robbing the people wasn't enough. You actually have to go that extra mile to.
mile. Yeah.
It's like Harry's like, look, we're just here to take stuff. We're not here to
Yeah.
actually, make these people's hot water bill go up.
Right. Yeah. uh,
But then I like the rocking around the Christmas tree whenever he has Michael
mm-hmm.
Jordan, the billboards and everything else. Just
Yeah.
that was a really good
That was
full in the
great.
moment.
Yeah, it really was. That was really great. And, it's just, it's such a feel good movie. It
It
really
really is.
is. It's like you could be in the most rotten mood in the world and it's like, put on Home Alone and you're like, why am I watching it in July? But
Right. Hey,
it's
Christmas in
still,
July, man.
yeah, right, yeah, and it's just one of those that no matter how many times you watch it, it don't get old unless you burn yourself out on it.
Right, exactly.
You know,
But I never burn myself out on it though. I put
nah,
it on at least once a year. Sometimes I'll put
once
it
a
on
year,
just for having a good laugh.
yeah, yeah.
But what are the things that you like about this film?
Oh, well, what I really, really enjoyed was seeing the process of Kevin's mom trying to get from, Paris to home. That was just like that to me. That was a sweet aspect of, you know, my baby's at home and I'm gonna do no matter what. I gotta, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Have you ever seen that video clip where they say Elvis was in the movie?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. Well, and it's like I love that scene, not because that they say Elvis was there. That's cool, but
Right.
but I mean, where she's at that, and she's like, oh, I see you have a ticket. That's nice. You're going somewhere, huh? And then she just butts in front of her, that she was talking to
It's
that
bomb
person.
control.
That's mom. That's mom.
Right.
So to me, I love that. To me, it brings it even more
Mhm.
home. You know what I mean? Just seeing that aspect. And then she goes on the crazy U-Haul ride with John Candy, and the polka band. So,
Right, exactly. And also too, I want to actually bring up is the fact that I did not like Uncle Frank. I thought Uncle Frank was a freeloading douchebag.
yeah.
And especially when they're in first class. And I still
I know.
believe that Kenny's dad was in the mob working for the Sopranos.
He
I
had to.
don't care what you say.
Oh my gosh, he had to have been. Oh,
Because he did play a big part in the Sopranos as a cop.
now we know.
So a
Now we
cheapskate,
know. Yeah.
right. Because how else can you actually afford a house that big with that much family in there and everything?
Yeah.
He had to have been working for the Sopranos or something.
All right. I
Oh,
mean,
but let's see here. Tamika goes, okay, but admit it, guys. They were horrible parents. They lost him twice. That's true. Once at home and then once
yeah.
in the airport.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know?
Well,
But also too, it was also Kevin's fault though too that they lost him in the airport. He couldn't wait 5 minutes to put down that Talkman and everything. He had to pop in those bottles
oh, yeah.
in the second
Yeah.
film. So that's actually on him a little bit though
Yeah.
too.
And he did wish him away in the first one. He
Again.
wished him, yeah.
Right.
Be careful what you ask for because you just might get it.
Right. Oh, she goes, we all have an Uncle Frank in our lives. That's true.
Yeah.
We do,
Everybody
unfortunately.
has got, yeah. And seeing that's what I love about it. There's always something you can relate to. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
there's characters that it's like, yeah, we got one of them in our family. Yeah,
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 definitely. We
yeah.
definitely have an
Everybody,
Uncle Frank.
yeah, everybody. There is somebody in that family that you can say that'll remind you of a friend or a family member. So, and
Right.
that's how you got an excellent, excellent movie with great writing, great directing, and a just overall good story. When
Agreed. And
somebody,
but yeah, I totally agree with you on that because we can all relate to the characters and everything. But I want to go back to what you were saying about his mother and everything just turning into mom all of a sudden. It goes to show you, despite the fact that she actually fights with him, despite the fact that he says horrible things to her and everything, and she also says horrible things to him though too, and not taking his side on things whenever it needed to be taken sides on
yeah,
and everything, she still loves her child despite all those
yeah,
things, and she knew
yeah,
that she had to be home for him. And
mm-hmm.
my favorite line is, "Oh my God, Kevin has to be really scared right about now." And Kevin's off doing whatever Kevin is doing, getting into
Yeah.
Buzz's stuff, getting into his tarantula, which I wouldn't even be picking up in the first place.
Yeah.
But um,
Uh,
go on.
yeah, I
About-
totally agree with you 100% with that. I mean, you know, it's just, you know, it's going to make me want to rewatch it early.
Matter of fact, I actually rewatched it again today before this and everything, and I love the paint cans. Whenever he's actually slinging the paint cans over into Harry's face
Ooh,
and
yeah,
everything,
that was
and let him
rough.
lose his glow tooth.
Yeah, yeah. It
And
seems
then
like
poor,
there's like a show or something that I saw where the actual injuries that was done to Harry and Marv,
yeah,
like if they happened in real life, they would have never survived it. Never.
no. As a matter of fact, they actually had the same thing for Die Hard as well, where they actually showed all the
Really?
injuries, yeah, with Bruce Willis and everything too.
Ah,
So you might
huh.
want to check that out.
Heck yeah. You have to tell me where to find it.
Okay, I definitely will. I just stumbled
Yeah.
upon it on an accident, so you might want to. I'll go ahead and send out the
Huh.
link.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
great.
but yeah, I thought that whenever the part with the church with the neighbor again, when he confronts his neighbor and talks with him,
Mhm.
and I like when Kevin brings him down to his level. It's like, yeah, I used to be scared of the heater in my down in my basement and everything,
Yeah.
but guess what? I'm not scared now. So why should you
Yeah.
be scared of something so small as to not want to talk to your son over a disagreement when you can actually fix it and be with him for Christmas?
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. That and
I like that.
God, it's such a good meaning, you know? I mean,
It does.
it's just like, wow. And see, to me, that, you know, and this is coming from somebody who made Blinded by the Darkness. but I love movies like that. It's like you can have fun watching it, but, you know,
But
oh,
let's see, did Home Alone 2 seem a bit darker, or is it just me? I don't know. I mean, he was lost in the city. He didn't know that
yeah.
much. It did grow a little dark after the hotel bit with Tim
Hmm.
Curry, after he gets kicked out of the
Yeah.
hotel because he has nowhere to really go, and then he's scared of the bird lady. So I
Yeah.
can definitely see how that could be a little dark for him, especially
Yeah.
whenever he also doesn't know anybody in New York other than maybe this other family that he actually had relatives in, and it's under renovations. And he actually uses that to his advantage to actually take down Harry and Marv again.
Yeah.
But and also the toy store as well. It's funny, I haven't even seen
Yeah.
the movie in years, and that still sticks with me. but
Right. Yeah.
but I just love the critical thinking of Christopher Columbus. I love what Christopher Columbus did with this film. It was smart. It knew what it was. It knew its target audience. And then the chemistry with everything that happened when Kevin goes, I'm gonna call 911, and he goes into he also goes into the treehouse, and he escapes
Yeah.
down and glides down, calls 911 up. He goes, yeah, there's burglars in my house. This is Murphy. And then, hey, what's his ass? I called the cops. Come and get me. And then,
Yeah.
my favorite line too is when Marv looks at Harry, goes, Harry, he called the cops from the treehouse.
Yeah. I know. I know. That was great. I mean, I don't even know who wrote Home Alone. I don't even know who.
I think it was Christopher Columbus that might have.
Really? Yeah.
I think
I
so.
didn't. I don't know, but whoever wrote it,
John Hughes. John
kudos.
Hughes actually wrote it.
John Hughes. Okay, that's what.
Okay.
See, because that's why I was like, why does it feel so much like a John Hughes? It's got,
Right.
that wonderful, you know, because all of John Hughes, it's kind of like every director, they got their own little. No matter if they're working on what, it's like Michael Bay explosions,
Right.
and
Exactly.
John,
Minus the twist
and
and camera angles.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
So uh, to me, that's as a someone who makes films and things like that. That's just
Right.
Like, that's what it's just like great, and
It
I
does. And that
love it.
also explains to you why John Candy was in that movie, though, too.
Mm-hmm.
Macaulay Culkin also worked on Uncle Buck together as
But Uncle
well.
Buck, yeah.
So it
Mm-hmm.
goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it sure
Uh,
does.
let's see here. Tamika said when he got lost in Central Park at night, yeah, that did get dark on that
Yeah,
part.
which, well, I mean, if it didn't get dark, you wouldn't have remembered it.
Right. And the first one was shot in Chicago. Yeah, it was definitely
Yeah,
scary though because it did take place in Chicago as well though,
yeah,
which is just as
yeah,
violent as New York at that time.
sure. Right. I
Um,
mean,
I'm gonna go into one more scene and then we'll go on ahead. If
sure.
you don't have anything else to add to the Home Alone part, we'll go into our the Santa Claus part. But my
Oh,
favorite
yeah.
thing is when Macaulay Culkin's actually in the drugstore and he's actually trying to find out information on this toothbrush, and then the girl go and no, it was actually the grocery store. It was the grocery store scene. I'm getting the two mixed up, but he's checking out. He's getting his groceries, and the girl just looks at him and picks up the army man and he goes, "It's for the kids." And
Oh,
then
yeah.
he goes, "Are you alone by yourself?" He goes, "Why?" He goes, "Because I think it's kind of funny. My dad's at work, my mom's in the car waiting on me, and you're a stranger. Do you know where do you live? I'm not going to tell you. Why? You're a stranger." Boom, mic drop.
Yeah. Yeah. What did he say? I don't talk to strangers or something. Isn't that
Yeah,
what
he
he
goes.
says?
No, he actually says because you're a
Uh,
stranger. He goes, "I'm not going to tell you where I live."
that's what he
And
says.
she goes,
Yeah.
and then the girl's like, "Why not? Because you're a stranger." And
And
that
yeah.
was it. And she shut up
Yeah.
though too. She didn't say nothing.
Well, see, and like back in the late 80s, I remember that's what they was telling kids.
Right,
That don't talk to strangers.
right,
That was just their way because they say that in like schools and stuff like that. I mean,
right.
I
And I was
mean,
one of those kids
yeah.
too that they were
So,
talking
and I
to.
loved it how that was intertwined. How that was just worked
Right,
in. How that was great. I was like, ah, that's awesome.
it was. All right, so I'm gonna go on it. We're gonna go on ahead and talk about the Santa Claus now. And I remember seeing this movie. I was in third grade, a matter of fact, when this movie was actually released. And I remember my friend Kyle and I doing impressions back and forth of Tim Allen in the trailers, how we couldn't wait to see this movie. Matter of fact, there was actually a guy in the post office in Pollyville that looked like Tim Allen before he actually grew out his beard. He actually
Oh,
had, yeah, he actually had that short beard before he actually grew it out. And we're
yeah,
like, he looks like the dude at the post office.
yeah,
But I love this film. I like how it actually starts off, whereas "Do It All for You, Dolly" at the very beginning.
yeah,
Then he winds up lying to his wife about why he's actually late because he was actually at a Christmas party for his work.
yeah,
And he goes, "Yeah, the traffic is really bad, honey." And
yeah.
the traffic is really bad. There's no traffic at all starting out. And he goes, "Yeah, same to you, pal," honks the horn.
Yeah,
Everything while he's
there's
talking on
nobody
his cell
around.
phone.
Yeah,
No.
total corporate sleaze bag. I mean,
Right.
he just did even. That's how you go. You've got a very talented actor who can just make you believe. Even when did that come out? Santa Claus. When did it
90,
come out?
I think 93. Let me
Yeah,
look. I
93.
want to say 93, if I'm not mistaken. It was actually 94. I was a year off.
Oh, it was okay. So it was 94. All right.
Yeah.
So so here's how you've got a classic character and a classic actor. A very well 25 years later, you can still people that's never seen this movie and they watch it, they will still be able to get the point
Remember.
across. Like, oh, he's a sleaze. He's just a corporate butt. You know what I mean?
Let's see, Tamika.
That's
I first saw Santa Claus on VHS when my dad bought it home. And I saw the second and third in theaters with millions of kids. Of course, I own the collection. Of course, you do,
right.
Tammy. She owns
Yeah.
every collection that I can actually think of.
Yeah. And
But
see, I'm like you, Tamika. I watched it on VHS, on the VCR, you know, play, and
right, and hope and
that's
pray that
where
it
I,
doesn't get eaten up in your VHS tape thing too.
yeah. And so, I mean, that's where I actually saw it for the first time.
Okay.
So, but that was God, 95, I think, or
Okay, I
something.
actually saw this in
Yeah.
theaters. I actually saw this
Hmm.
with my mom, and then I brought my friends again. Once again, I brought my friends because
Yeah.
what we used to do is we had this dollar movie theater for $1.25. You can actually watch movies, go to the movies. So we would actually, I actually stayed the whole entire day and watched every single film in the theater. Just spent the whole day
Yeah.
in the movie theater.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
you know, this movie makes me laugh. It makes me happy. This guy's a
Mhm.
corporate sleaze bag. I also like him when he goes into IHOP whenever after he burns the turkey as well. And he looks at the other guy. He goes, "Burn the turkey, huh?" Holds up his hand.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
And another
I
thing though,
mean,
before we go into the scenes and stuff like that too, Tim Allen was also going off of Home Improvement though
he
too.
was.
So
Hmm.
so we have that working for him though too. So you have the
Yeah.
Home Improvement crowd mixed in with the kid crowd. So it worked. It was like a perfect balance
Yeah.
when you look at it.
And I loved in the Santa Claus how he made a reference to, how Home Improvement, where he was at Santa Claus's, in the North Pole, and he saw that
Right.
tool belt, and he put it up to his waist, and he started smiling. Yeah. Oh, do you remember that scene?
Yeah, I
With
remember
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, that was actually funny.
That was great. That was like, yeah, that's a little nod to it.
Yeah, that was definitely a nod because remember he goes into the North Pole. Bernard, he's talking to Bernard. He's
Mhm.
ignoring Bernard.
Yeah,
He goes, "Listen here, Barnaby. I just want to go home."
yeah,
And then he looks at the thing, tries to put it around his waist, and then puts it back
yeah,
down because it
yeah.
doesn't fit him.
That was just a
And
sweet little nod. I was like,
it
that's
was.
great. You know.
It made me laugh. And not only that,
Hmm.
but I also liked it too whenever he's reading the book of the night before Christmas to his son
Hmm.
and everything, and
Yeah.
then he hears the clatter on this thing and goes, "That's the clatter. That's the what?" The roast of
Yeah.
the clatter, Dad. Get with it, pretty much.
Right.
But I also
Yeah.
liked it too whenever he finally gets up on the ladder and he looks at his son. He goes, "I know what this is. This is from the cable company. We're getting the Disney Channel."
Yeah.
Let's see. Brandy said she loves the first Santa Claus. It's been forever since she saw it, and she says it's just she's watching us on her smart TV. Okay, I'm glad
Oh
that you got.
wow, awesome.
Okay.
And
So, but yeah, I really have to say I really enjoyed that comical aspect, and then also too when he gets into it with his wife at the very beginning too. That made
mhm.
me laugh because it's we're not fighting, son. It's just like two cats.
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Now I have to give my, I guess my my arm director chair. Yeah, that's what I call it. When you sit in your chair and you got your arms up in the arm director chair,
right.
um, um, the one thing that didn't, I guess, sell me
Okay.
was the acting of the kid. And I know it's hard. That was the if I think if that kid somehow, if the director or possibly whoever would have just worked with that child actor a little bit, I don't know, maybe I made it more something. I don't
More
know. That
emotional.
was just I don't know. It was just it was good. Now, believe me, I've worked with kids in films and stuff. it's tricky because like there's things in there. It's like, okay, look, they got to get an hour nap, then they got to get a snack, and they got to yeah.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, and if you don't do it, you get in trouble. You know what I mean? It's like, look, you gotta go take a nap. I don't
Like,
care if we're
listen,
shooting.
you have 5 minutes until you
Yeah,
finish up the scene. Then
yeah,
after that, it's still time for you, kid.
exactly. And and like when you're filming a movie, if you're an adult filming a movie, sometimes you're up there till 2 o'clock in the morning, filming. And then sometimes you're up at the crack of dawn. But when it comes to child actors, you can't do that. It's
No,
just
no,
you,
absolutely
you
not.
can't.
Because they're
Yeah, you
exhausted.
can't. And so it's like that's why when most directors they're like, yeah, I'll work with a kid actor. They're like, yeah, they don't say. They're kind of like,
Right. Okay.
okay, yeah,
This is okay. It can be fun. Let's see
you're
what
right,
happens.
yeah,
I can't wait not to do this again.
yeah. So yeah,
But
but like
um,
with that kid, if they would have had a actor's coach or something that could have just made him more sellable. You know what I mean by sellable?
right. Yeah,
That
I get what
was
you're
my
saying.
own. Like make him like Elliot from ET.
Okay, make him have layers rather than
Yeah,
just
make
one
him
dimensional.
yeah, you know.
You see, I didn't have a problem with him. I think it's because of the fact I
Right.
was young at the time. I really didn't have
Mhm.
that critique where I was actually criticizing a film or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I don't really have a problem with him acting or anything like that because
Right.
it's just something that stuck with me since I was a kid.
Sure,
But
sure.
I think
He
that's
did a
why.
good job. No, don't get me wrong. I'm
Right,
not knocking him.
right,
I'm saying he did actually a
right.
great job. But it's just like there's you did a job, you did a good job, you did a great job, and then you need an Oscar.
Right.
Type
Right.
thing.
I gotcha. And you
Yeah.
see, I felt like maybe with the emotional scenes where,
Mhm.
okay, now that you're actually mentioning it, and I actually rewatched it again too, even though I
Yeah.
said that I didn't see any problems, but
Mm.
you brings up a very good question thing though, because now that I'm actually thinking about it, I feel like with the emotional stuff that actually happens whenever Tim winds up telling him, "Look, you cannot talk about the Santa Claus stuff anymore. Things could wind up
Right.
happening bad for us. It just needs to be between the two of us." But the kid doesn't listen. Then again, what kid does? But
Right. Yeah.
but still, I thought that maybe if he actually brought some more emotion into the courtroom and everything too,
Yeah.
because it was all about Dad. When can we go to the North Pole? Versus Dad, when can I see you again for Christmas?
Yeah.
You know, he
Yeah.
didn't drop the whole Santa Claus bit. He just kept going with the Santa Claus bit. If he would have
Yeah.
actually said, "When can I see you again
When can I
on
see you
Christmas?"
again? Yeah.
and the
hmm
consequences behind him actually
Yeah.
talking about it, yeah, I could actually see that. You
Yeah.
know,
And there's like a million different possible reasonings. It could have been in the script. It could have been,
right,
you know, who knows? I mean,
right, but
sometimes you just improvise and blah, and the
right, you can only
director
do what
makes
you
that. Yeah.
right. You
Yeah.
can only do what you have what's in front of you, and then go
Yeah.
from there. Especially with a child
Yeah.
actor.
Oh gosh.
Um,
Yeah.
But I really liked how the mythology of the fact is what happens
Oh.
if the person doesn't have a fireplace and then he just sucked into that little tube that looks like Super Mario Brothers. And
Mm-hmm.
he goes, it's kind of like it just sucks you right in.
Yeah.
And all of a
Yeah.
sudden it just appears. I like that. Because we always wonder that, what happens to
Mm-hmm.
kids that don't have a chimney? What happened? How does Santa get us
Yeah.
in? I liked
I
how
liked how they
Tim
touched
Allen,
that.
right. And then Tim Allen goes, he sucks it in like grandpa.
Yeah.
But another thing though that made me laugh was the part where they wanted to change the Santa Claus up at the Do It For Your Old Dolly, and then Tim just gets really pissed off at them. He's like, I can't wait for kids for Christmas to come, because guess what? I hope you guys have been great, because if not, Santa's gonna blow you away.
Yeah.
Let's see, the Santa Claus 2 was hilarious, and then the Escape Clause was pretty great. To be honest with you, I like the first two Santa Claus movies and everything, but after that, I really felt like, they could have actually done away with the Santa Claus stuff and everything and focused on something else. Because it got to the point where it becomes repetitive after maybe the third or fourth movie. And don't get me wrong, I would love to see him fall in love with the Mrs. Claus and stuff like that, but did we actually really want to see that? That's the question.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was just kind of like, it got repetitive around the third one to me.
Right.
I mean,
what other scenes did you like, though? I've been rambling on about what some of the scenes that I like, but I want to know the stuff you like.
Actually, where I thought it was hilarious is the Santa Claus, or Tim Allen's ex-wife, her boyfriend.
Neil.
Oh my God, I love, because he's a psychologist, and he was like, well, what about the children that doesn't have chimneys? And then, the kid explained it to him, and it was like whatever he tried to do as a psychologist, this kid would just drop the mic on him with it,
Right. But you know what else I thought that was funny, though? Was whenever whenever he goes, what does your dad do for career day? What does he do for a living? And Charlie goes, my dad is Santa Claus. And he explained how he became Santa Claus with Santa falling off the roof and everything. And then the kid goes, let me get this straight, Santa. All I have to do is wait until you come up on my roof and then push you down, and then I become Santa. But the part that made me die laughing was this. They go into the principal's office. The principal's concerned. He has Neil in there, which actually has a conflict of interest, which is why I don't get why, yes, he's a psychiatrist, but she's also the boyfriend, which is also a conflict of interest with the child. But the thing that I laughed was about this. He goes, what did you read to Charlie? He goes, well, we picked up some hookers. We went on ahead. I ended up pouring some eggnog, spiking it with some Fireball. I'm just paraphrasing with that part. And then after that, we went out joyriding again. And came home. He goes, I read him a bedtime story for crying out loud. What did you read? Playboy. I don't know if that's actually what he said or whatever, but I'm just paraphrasing on that part.
Right.
I read him the night before Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that is the most stupidest question that you can actually ask and everything. You can tell that, don't get me wrong, he's a douchebag, but he's not on that level of being a douchebag to where he's actually going to be that cruel to his kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, to me, I mean, like, the way I kind of picked up on the movie, to me, it seemed like the writer had a personal agenda with therapists and psychologists.
It seems like it.
It kind of does, don't it? It's like,
because he nitpicks on Neil's sweater all the time.
Yeah, I know. It's a sweater constantly, and it's just the little jabs and jabs at, what I mean? So, writers, we kind of do that. If it's like something we really don't like, we kind of take a, like if it's a car salesman or something, we write it in, we're like, we're going to make a joke out of this, make it fun,
Exactly. And the thing I liked about it was, is there any questions that you have for Neil? Yeah. When does the circus pull out of town before he takes off the sweater?
Right. That was great. I know.
And then his wife looks at him. His ex-wife looks at him. I told you not to wear the sweater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I
But
mean,
then there's what did you think of the elves? That's what I want to know because we've been talking about the
hmm
adults and everything
yeah.
things like that. Let's talk about
Um,
the elves a little bit.
I some of them I liked. Um, but then again, some of them I don't know. They just seem too tall, or I don't know. I don't.
Right. Well, there is this one kid that whenever he was escaping from jail, he did look kind of big to be an elf.
Yeah, yeah. So, and probably what that was that was asking all the sound guys and everybody else, like, you got any kids? It's like, yeah, they want to be in a movie. It was like, any kids that's, you got nieces and nephews, tell them to show up. That's
Right.
probably what happened on film. That kind of thing happens, really.
Right. But I could just see that it's just filled with kids. You're an elf. You're an elf. You're an elf. And I don't want to be an elf. You're an elf.
You're an elf. Sorry, put on the green outfit.
I want to be Charlie's girlfriend. No, you are an elf.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But I like Bernard though. I like Bernard as the
Yeah.
elf, as
He
the
was
head elf.
good.
And then
Mhm.
Judy, the other elf that makes
I
the
liked
egg
her.
hot
Yeah.
chocolate. And I love
Hmm.
and a matter of fact, I love this part though too, where she makes him the hot chocolate and he sits down and goes,
Yeah.
this is some pretty good hot chocolate. She goes, thanks. It only took me 139 years to make it.
Right. Yeah. To get it perfect. Yeah. So, I mean, to me, she symbolized and looked more like the elves
Hmm.
that I would think of than really any of the rest of them. I mean, besides the ones that
Right,
would be making the toys and stuff, you know.
right.
But
And then another thing that I thought that was funny was I'm seeing someone and you know what? This hot chocolate is pretty good. And she turns around, I'm seeing someone in rapping.
yeah, that was hilarious.
It
Yeah.
was. Let's see. Tamika
Mm.
actually said some stuff, and so did Brandy. So,
Oh,
so John, you're saying that Martin Short ruined the Santa Claus movies. No, I'm not saying that he ruined it, but I did. I
mm-mm.
did like its media aspects whenever it came down to Jack Frost. I did like that. There was just some things that I felt was kind of off-putting when some of the singings and stuff like that. It just didn't
Mhm.
flow right for me. Some of it felt forced. Some of the humor actually worked. It just didn't feel like it was
Yeah,
actually original compared to the first film. But
yeah.
that's just me on the way that I'm understanding it. I don't know if you have a different viewpoint than I do, Crichton, on that one.
Well, yeah. A lot of times, and Disney is horrible about this. I will say it. I mean, but when they make a movie that's really good, the first one, and it goes beyond making money, you know, then they, of course, they want to capitalize it. They want to do what they Star Wars, what they say about Star
Marketed
Wars,
towards the kids.
milking
Right.
milking the cow. I want to milk that cow. Except it's not milk, it's money,
It's,
and
mhm.
that's what they saw in Santa Claus. And of course, they made a sequel, and it lived up to expectations. When it got to the third thing, it's kind of like,
Where do we go
well,
from here?
yeah, they knew that everybody who saw Santa Claus 1 and 2, guess what? They're going to buy a ticket to go and see it. And it kind of goes to show that that people kind of was kind of like me and you on this. It's kind of like, it's kind of forced or something.
Right. It was just something that was thrown off, especially
Yeah, it
with
was
look
just,
at the North Pole. The North Pole didn't even look like the North Pole anymore. It just
mm-mm.
looks like a CGI house now. It just doesn't feel like
Yeah.
it was anything to it. It didn't feel like the North Pole to me.
It didn't to me either. And I think a lot of people, I think that movie could have been saved if they stepped up the North Pole.
Mm,
They really,
yeah,
and they didn't go so CGI,
right.
you know. I
Um,
mean,
right. The CGI is what kills me rather than practical
mhm.
effects. I like practical
Yeah.
effects mixed in with some CGI, which is what they did with the Santa Claus movie
Right.
and everything, which is enough. It's enough. You don't have to
Enough.
show right.
Mhm.
That's just me though. I know that there are people that likes
Yeah,
the Thor
sure.
Ford movie, but I think it might be just because I'm older too. Whenever
Right.
those movies came out, because that movie came out when I was in college. I was like in 05 or 06 at that
Mhm.
time. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, they're just wasting film at this point.
Right.
Hold on. Also the mechanical reindeers bother me. That's what she said. That's what Tamika said. I don't know. I like the mechanical ones from the very first one. Now the third and fourth one, yeah, that is a bit creepy in the third and
Yeah.
fourth one
Yeah.
and everything. But you know,
They were.
um,
Yeah. I'm glad somebody could
but
build them. I mean,
you know
somebody
what's
had a
funny though?
job.
Hmm. But you want to know something that's actually funny though, Creighton? I don't know if you know this, but in Subway, they actually had toys, kid toys, and it was actually the Santa Claus toys, the elf.
Really? I did
Yeah,
not
I
know
had no
that.
clue that they even made those toys or anything like that, but I
Huh.
had one. I had one of the elves.
Why?
And I'm like, I don't remember this being advertised on TV or anything. I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty cool, but I don't know where it's at now. But it was actually
No,
something cool
right.
that because you don't see stuff being merchandise in that kind of way or
Mm-mm.
anything like that because it's a December movie. It's marketed
Yeah.
towards Santa Claus, so they can't really sell toys based on Santa Claus when you already have a bunch of other stuff that looks like Santa Claus, unless you have a
Mm-hmm.
hot toy that looks like Tim Allen.
Yeah.
And at that
Yeah.
time, there was no such thing as hot toys. But
Right. Huh.
let's see, Tamika, do you guys think the more money a film has less it relies on creativity, like the films we grew up with? Well, we seen that with Deadpool, though. To be honest with you, that movie was
Yeah.
made for less money, and it was
Mm-hmm.
successful. So yeah,
Yeah. I like. Okay, so it really comes down to the way I think on it is you can make one of the best movies in the world for next to nothing, but it's the story and it's how you tell that story. That's what's gonna capture it. Like, in which I know you're doing a show about this next week, or a couple days about A Christmas Story.
yeah, I'm doing
But
that on the 17th.
yeah, so and just in which you probably already know this, but this relates to my point. A Christmas Story was supposed to be a B budget movie.
Oh
B
wow,
budget. It was a B movie. It really was. When they got the backing, the studio was like, no, They was like, no, we're not even gonna. We're gonna give you just enough to make this. And
and look what happened.
it was projected to be a B movie, but so to me, it's when they throw money around like that, lots of money. Some of the creativity kind of goes.
Fades away.
It really does. To me, it kind of the big executive corporate people. They're the ones in charge because they're the ones paying the bill. You know.
That's actually true. And also too, I remember when Jupiter Ascending came in, which is a horrible Channing Tatum movie that came out, for
Yeah.
example. All their stuff went towards special effects rather than the plot.
Yeah.
And when you have a special effects, you're trying to cover up the mess that you actually have with the dialogue and hope that everybody would see how beautiful something is when really underneath the surface you have a shitty movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
And
true.
everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, look how beautiful this scene is. But the dialogue, what about the dialogue?
Yeah.
What about the character development? That's all faded
Mm-hmm.
away. And because of
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that's how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, But
But is there anything
that's a
big you
great.
wanted to add? Hmm,
Yeah, yeah.
go
I
ahead.
mean, honestly, that I think that when people like Disney who has more money than God, that when they they start throwing money at something, like Pirates of the Caribbean for a prime example. You know what I mean?
Right.
Uh the creativity kind of
Flutters.
goes. Yeah,
But also too, we're also at fault a little bit though too, because we tell the
yeah,
studios what we want to see with our
yeah,
dollars when we go to
hmm
the box office, and we say, "Hey,
yeah.
look, I want 3 tickets to see Pirates of the Caribbean, for example."
Right.
Therefore, that money goes towards not only the box office, not only the movie theaters, but it also goes in with Johnny Depp. It goes
Yep.
into the actor's pocket. It goes to all them. And that's why you
Sure.
also see why they actually want a higher paid raise, which also means increase in ticket sales, which also means that they also want to make sequels out of it because we're actually telling them, hey, look, we're investing our time, our money, our 2.5 hours into this movie, and now
Yeah.
they actually see, oh, dollar signs, just like Donald
hmm
DuckTales, Scrooge McDuck
Yeah. Yeah.
with dollar
That's
signs.
right. hmm
So that's what I'm getting out of it, though, too.
Yeah. Now,
Let's see. Oh,
now, back onto Santa Claus, and that's a good question, Tamika. Thank you for bringing that up. Now, I have something that that my God, I would love to see this. I would love. I would like to see a Santa Claus 4,
hmm,
except that the son takes over the family business.
okay.
Imagine, imagine, because I've seen that kid where he is now, and he's just about a couple years younger from what Tim Allen was when he became Santa. You know what I mean? But
Right,
you know, the he's a young man now, so he could just grow out a mustache and a beard, and he would be.
right.
But oh my God, could you imagine that movie if they did that? If please Disney do this, but let the son take over the family business.
Right, and also add something new, something fresh. And not only
Oh,
that, but it also I want to also see maybe the son makes some mistakes
sure, yeah,
and everything too, and then he learns from those mistakes, and then he
and
corrects those mistakes after like the first year is rough. Think of it as someone being
yeah,
in office. The first year is rough, then the second year is you're learning. There's might be some smoother curves and everything too
hmm
later on, but there's
and
still
you
going to
have
be
to
some more.
remember that he's got a half, I don't know, brother or sister or something. Because remember in Santa Claus 3, they had that
Right,
baby. Santa Claus had a
right,
baby. So there you go. If he's that, and then he's got a half, I don't know, or I guess would be technically a half brother or half
right.
sister.
Well, half
Yeah,
sister.
half. So if you've got two siblings, which one is really going to get the chair? Which one is really going to be Santa Claus?
Right,
You've got a
and also.
movie right there. I mean,
Mhm.
oh my, Disney, call me.
Call Creighton right now. I'll give
Yeah,
you his digits across the screen in a few minutes. You're just going in and hit that phone.
yeah.
Let's see here. Brandy said, "Hey, oh, she's telling me where's my Santa."
Huh?
Well, unfortunately, my Santa hat is not with me because I don't have one.
Ah,
So, so yeah. Um, let's see here. Tamika, interesting. Would you feature his family to Crichton if there was a Santa 4, or was there a conflict? Would you incorporate the family for him if you wrote the film?
hmm. What conflict? I think that you know that it would be a good Santa Claus 4 with the brother and sister thing, but not all of that. I would like to add a twist to it. You know, probably another mythological person. You know what I mean? We have Tooth Fairy, Mother Nature and all of that, and we've done seen Jack Frost, but it's kind of like, you got, the young one, and then you got the actual Santa Claus, Tim Allen, and then you got like a little family thing that's holding the North Pole together, right? But there
Right.
needs to be, in which I'd have to think on it, but there would have to be some type of villain to where, yeah, the two, brother or sister or whatever, they would be fussing about who's going to take over the family business, but they unite to, save the North
Right.
Pole and save Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't know that villain. I can't think of anything.
Okay. You might need an assistant.
Yeah, I need some help with that one. Yeah,
Disney needs assistant. He needs an assistant writer on that, so you need to get on top of that right away. You should listen to us. So
sure, that's right. And I want my personal assistant to bring me coffee and to sing "Happy Birthday" to Tamika. In French. Yes, French.
So you want Frenchie as your assistant. But this is also what she said. Creighton, it's like Fred Claus with Vince Vaughn.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I didn't think about that. Gosh, I'm referencing movies that I didn't even realize I was doing.
And then she says we could rip off Rise of the Guardians, LOL, have the darkness as the villain or Sandman.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that's very good.
But yeah, this movie was really good. I really enjoyed the very first Santa Claus movie. The Santa Claus will always be a classic, and I'll always treasure this because I went with my friends, went with my mom. Same thing whenever I looked at Home Alone. But I do have a quick question before we actually close out, though, too. We are actually sponsored by Audible on Amazon. And matter of fact, you can actually go ahead, go down below, click the link below. You can get a 30-day subscription for Audible. But my question is this. If you were to actually give a book to somebody, which characters out of the two films that we just reviewed, what would be the name of that title of the book, and who would you actually give that book to?
The title of the book. Well, I would think. I have to make up a title, or?
Yeah, you can make up a title. You can make up any title you want.
Or can I go with something that I know?
You can do something you know, or it can be a fictional title.
Okay. All right. So, the book would be A Cajun Christmas. It's an actual book. A Cajun Christmas.
Okay.
And I would get Kevin's uncle to read it.
Oh my God.
That would be hilarious.
At that point, I would call Neil from the Santa Claus, and I would actually need therapy.
Right.
For me, I would actually have to go with A Mississippi Christmas Story.
Ooh, yeah.
And have Tim Allen read that.
Oh, he'd sell it. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. Good one. That's great. No.
So that's my choice. And there is such a thing as A Mississippi Christmas Story.
Yeah. And there's such a thing as A Cajun Christmas.
So that might actually be on Audible. So those two books might actually be on Audible. So check that out if you want to actually get your kids involved in reading, or if you want to just not read to them and have somebody else tell them a story, or Alexa, go ahead and do that. Let's see. The Call of the Wild for Home Alone and A Christmas Carol for the Santa Claus is what Tamika would actually do. That's actually a good call.
That's good. Yeah.
Let's see here. Randy said Home Alone and the 504, which is New Orleans area code.
Yeah.
And have Tim Burton read it.
Oh, wow.
We already know the stars of that. Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, that's a
that's
good one. That's
great.
clever.
Yeah, that's
Um,
good. That's awesome.
and I also like yours too, though. Tamika, the Call of the Wild and Home Alone and A Christmas Story
Yeah.
for Santa Claus. That's actually perfect though too.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, baby, yes, Brandy, I am actually throwing around some Cobra Kai.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
She mentioned that a little while ago, so I just want to make sure that I'm actually getting to some of the stuff that I might have missed. But anyways, is there anything else that you would like to actually add for the Santa Claus or Home Alone or anything like that, or you're good on everything that we talked about?
Um, the only thing that I would like to tell your viewers and listeners and stuff is that there actually is a Home Alone house. There is a real deal, and I believe it's in Cincinnati. Now, don't quote
Yeah,
me on that, but is that where it's
it's
at?
in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I know that a couple of years back, the people who originally owned it, I think they sold it for like $1.5 million or
Mhm.
something crazy. So, but there's an actual Home Alone house, and so that to me is like, you know what I mean? It's like going to seeing the house. I wouldn't travel in a plane just to go and drive by somebody's house. That's kind of weird. It's
Yeah,
more
that would.
creepy, but but
Or
still, I would
although you
like
could
to.
always,
But when you
although
make, yeah,
although you could actually say, "I used to live here. Can I go ahead and check out the rooms, or I have to use the bathroom? Can I?"
right. But it's when you make movies, you're in a make believe world, right? And and when there's actual places that still exist, that it's like a foundation of like it's here. That's what I want your fans and everybody, your listeners and people who's watching this to know that there's an actual the house is actually there.
Right. And that's something that I remember though a couple of years ago whenever I read the article that it was actually sold for
Mhm.
1.3 million, I think, or something like that on those
Yeah,
lines.
yeah,
But yeah, it's just impressive that that house still exists and
it's
people are
amazing.
still wanting to buy the house like, Macaulay Culkin was actually in. Even though most of it was
Yeah,
actually built on the set, but they
right.
actually did use features from the house, which is actually pretty
Yeah.
cool. And they did
Hmm.
shoot a couple of scenes inside the house itself,
Yeah,
and they just
yeah,
borrowed certain aspects of that house.
and the
But,
treehouse.
right,
Yeah, so that's
right,
to me, that's just like, you know, when you're watching a movie, it's what you call movie magic, But sometimes it's nice to know that the magic is there and you
right.
can see it in real life,
Exactly. Let's see. Tamika said it was. Yeah, I know it was supposed to be taking place in Chicago, but actually that house
Mhm.
itself is in Cincinnati, though.
Is that right? I was like, I
Yeah,
think so.
I
Yeah.
believe so. Uh, let's see. I'm gonna fact check it.
Oh, you fact checking? Okay. I was
Right.
like, watch, I would be like all wrong. Oh, yeah.
Okay, Tamika's. You know what? I'm never gonna argue with a librarian because she knows her
uh,
research. She knows her stuff. It was in
yeah.
Chicago,
It
and I
was
just feel like
okay.
movie trivia. Right.
Oh well, yeah, I failed that one. Yeah, so
Good job,
well,
Tamika, because
yeah,
I just failed the
thanks.
movie trivia for Home Alone. So I'm never going to argue with you since you're a librarian. So,
Right? Yeah, same here. Yeah.
so I think that's going to be it for the show and everything. Where can everybody reach you at?
I am on Facebook. They can go to Facebook and type in Creighton Films or Librarian for Life. Uh, or How Many Chances. That's usually a good way to get in touch with me is just type in How Many Chances and type that on Twitter and Parlor and and all that stuff, and you'll find me.
All right. And everybody, we have a Patreon, by the way. So if you want to go to the Patreon, if you want to support us and everything, we have a $5 tier, a $10 tier, and a $20 tier and everything. Go ahead and check out the Patreon. As a matter of fact, that's going to be in the links below. But how you get there, I'm glad that you guys asked. What you do is you go to www.patreon.com/movieloversunite and pick the plan that's perfect for you. I know that money is kind of tight with the holidays, but if you want to support us, if you want to go on ahead and do that, that would actually mean so much to us. Another thing too is I want to actually mention Charlie Woodman. He was actually on the show with me last night. He actually just signed up for the $20 tier. So thank you so much, Charlie, for actually doing that. And of course, if you actually donate towards the show and everything, you also get a shout out as well. It doesn't matter which tier you actually choose, you still get a shout out from us. And also too, you can also follow us at Movie Lovers, TV Lovers Unite, and as well on Facebook, movieloversunite.com for all your entertainment needs and everything is too. Then we also have a Movie Lovers, TV Lovers Unite on Pinterest, and we also have a Movie Lovers unit on Twitter, which is actually supposed to be Movie Lovers Unite. And of course, you guys can follow me at Movie Lovers on, well, John DeGorio 8 on Twitter. And I also want to mention this too, guys. I have three more shows actually. I have been photobombed. Okay. I don't know what that means. But anyways, what I want to actually say is this. I have three more shows that I'm doing. I have one with Rossi McCree. We're actually doing a Scarface review. This is actually going to be another YouTube live video. And then after that, it's going to be converted into audio podcast, just like I'm doing with this one. And then after that, I actually have an after show for Dexter now. It's called The Dark Passenger, a Dexter Morgan after show. And then after that, Saturday, we're doing our Die Hard review. So it's going to be me, Rick, and also Tamika. We're going to be talking about Die Hard. I cannot wait to talk about Die Hard. Die Hard is actually one of my favorite Christmas movies. And yes, it's a Christmas movie. I can prove it.
Yep. Now, I have one question about Die Hard, real quick.
Okay.
And you're like the Yoda of movies. So I want to ask about Die Hard. Okay, in the very beginning of the movie, you see Kevin Smith, right? The name, and it says Kevin Smith. But, and of course, he made it fade out the name to where it says Kevin Sith, and start like the Sith Lord.
Huh. I never saw that.
Well, watch it. Watch.
Okay.
It'll say Kevin Smith, and then the M or the Smith part goes to Kevin Sith, and he put that up there because he.
My question is this: Is this in the original? Is this in the original Die Hard, or is this in the other one with Kevin Smith in it?
This is the first Die Hard.
Really?
The very first Die Hard. Yeah.
Damn, I did not know that. Did he play a character or anything like that, or?
That's what I don't understand. That's why I know Kevin Smith is somehow involved in this movie, but how? I don't know. But I know he's involved with the other one. So
yeah, right. So I'm definitely gonna have to look into that, man, because I was actually watching a few minutes of Die Hard the other night just to dive into it a little bit. But I'm gonna have to look at that.
Yep.
Let's see here. Someone called Ben Trivia King. She was talking about Ben from the Back to the Future show. He knew everything about Back to the Future, man. Like that dude is just phenomenal. But I just want to say, man, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. I always have a fun talking with you. This has been great. I love the fact that the chat was alive thanks to Tamika, Brandy, and everybody that supports me. And also too, we actually had a new person that actually showed up last night. NBA. I forgot what his last thing was, but that was somebody new that I didn't even recognize before that popped in last night when Charlie and I were talking a little bit of movie news. And by the way, guys, I also want to mention this. Charlie actually predicted and everything and speculated that we would like to actually see Charlie Cox back as Daredevil. Then all of a sudden today it was actually reported that Charlie Cox is either rumored or it's actually true that he's actually going to become back as Daredevil.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
So that's a little news segment. That's a little sweaty moment that I wanted to actually talk about. But yep, and I agree with Tamika here. She said, "Thank you, Creighton. Thank you so much."
You're welcome.
And she's dying to see the Die Hard movie review and everything. So once again, man, it's a pleasure. It's been a blast. This has been great. It doesn't even feel like an hour has even passed. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Always until next time, guys. It's been fun. It's been great. Stay safe. Don't pick your boogers. Don't go to the movie theaters right now, even though they're closed. Do not go into crowded areas. Wear your mask, and God bless.